Good morning. Good morning. It is Sunday morning. Rise and shine. It is Sunday, September the 28th, and this is Coffee Talk. I'm Wesh 2 First Warning meteorologist Eric Burris. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's doing in the world of weather. And this morning, of course, the big story in the weather world is Tropical Depression 9. Still a tropical depression, has not become Tropical Storm Imelda yet, though we do anticipate that to be the case. Satellite presentation, frankly, still looking ragged, and we're going to get into why. We're going to get into the steering of the storm in just a little bit. But first, just kind of a picture where it's located. It's out approaching the southern Bahamas, out near the Turks and Caicos. Winds are at 35 miles an hour. We did just get the intermediate advisory from the National Hurricane Center. Still moving to the north-northwest at about 7 miles an hour. I would say, though, that over the course of the day today, it should turn more of a due northerly direction, and that'll keep it nicely and safely off of the Florida East Coast. It is expected to become a hurricane as well off of our East Coast, but it's not expected to come here. So that's very, very important. That's the forecast from the Hurricane Center. That hard right turn persists, and you've got to love that. Now, when we look at the consensus models, let's just kind of get an idea. It's 1202Z right now, but I'm still going to use the 6Z just because I'm not sure that we've finished running the models. But look at how the model consensus has been. And just to give you an idea of how this plays out, okay? So essentially, each one of these lines is not an individual model. It's the consensus of the tropical models. And the more faded it is, the older it is. So very, very old, right? Not as old, not as old. The current run is down here. And look how not only have they been so razor tight in terms of that northerly jog across like Grand Bahama Island, but more importantly, away from Florida, right? There has been significant run-to-run consistency there. So our confidence is high. This will not be making landfall in Florida. But beyond that, it's almost been shifting it further and further to the right, sooner and sooner and sooner. So that's good. We got to love that. As a matter of fact, Cam and I were just talking a couple of minutes ago about this. Like, the potential is there. It may turn before it's even off the east coast of Florida. That's a possibility. So, we'll have to wait and see how the timing of all this plays out. But there's good news here, and I think that's the bottom line here, okay? So what's steering this? There's a very, very complex setup, but, a good way to always step back and look at things is just by looking at the water vapor channel. A couple of days ago, when we had really first started tracking this, the discussion was a cold front was going to be blocking Florida, and then you've got Umberto off to the east, and there was going to be this squeeze play going on. But look at that dry air shaded in those kind of orangish colors on this map, really playing into Florida. That's the blocking wall, that big push that says you're not coming to Florida. And that, thankfully, is going to protect us. Frankly, it's also going to keep us beautiful. Aside from some squally weather from time to time, this is gorgeous. So it's kind of this complex nature of that dry air plus a subtle Fujiwara, if you will, a subtle opportunity for it. Look at the American GFS model and the European model. And so we've got on the left, Tropical Depression 9, on the right, Major Hurricane Umberto. And watch how Umberto is going to kind of help to pull TD9 away from the United States. And they both ending up out to sea. And not a bother to us whatsoever. So we've got to love the way that this all plays out. In terms of intensity models, just since we're talking, the intensity models do take TD9 into tropical storm strength probably today, but tomorrow, definitely a tropical storm. And then it looks like Tuesday, the potential is there Tuesday into Wednesday to see this become a hurricane as it's making that right turn away from us. So there's that. Either way, the good news is we're getting good data. Here's the Hurricane Hunters. There's 2 missions in. Did have now that's kind of interesting to me that we had an Air Force flight, but it stopped sending data back at like 3 o'clock. I wonder if they had to turn back because of a data communication issue. I haven't heard about it. And then there was a NOAA flight look at the NOAA flight. It's kind of cool, actually, when you look at it. It's that blue line there. So the NOAA flight took off from Lakeland, went direct Umberto, circled Umberto, and then went direct Tropical Depression 9, circled Tropical Depression 9, and then went back direct Lakeland. I mean, I'm a pilot, so, you have to excuse me for being a little bit of a nerd. But it's kind of neat when you see they're not just going in and looking inside the storm, they're surveying the atmosphere around it. And of course, that data from the atmosphere then gets put into the computer models so that we have a better idea of how this plays out. So that's very, very good stuff. Now, that said, how does this play into our local communities? Well, let's talk about some of these county by county impacts, and let's start with our coastal communities, okay? Rough surf, rip currents, absolutely going to be the bigger threats for us, right? Gusty winds from time to time certainly looks possible, especially along I-95, right? Gusting to 30, 35, 40 miles an hour can't be ruled out. Coastal flooding, not really overly concerned. We're not talking about a significant storm surge event from this, but, obviously we're going to be looking at the data from run to run to run. So what are our probabilities for tropical storm force winds? Okay, this is a really neat map when you get into the kind of nitty gritty of it, okay? And basically what we're looking at here is what's your threat potential. So what I want to do is I want to zoom this in and just really give us an idea. For the metro area, 15% threat for tropical storm force wind gust, okay? Now, you get over to the coastal communities, you're talking about a 20 to even 30% threat. I think Brevard County is going to have the highest threat at 30%. And it's really the barrier islands of Brevard County, okay? So the rest of us are not looking at this is not going to be a significant event. And I want to make sure that you know that. One other piece is just this overall idea of gusts. So I want to make sure that while you understand, yes, Brevard has the highest threat of gusts, our entire coastal community could see tropical storm force wind gusts, okay? So that's just kind of a surface level look at Tropical Depression 9, or what will become, we think, Tropical Storm Imelda. Now, from there, we can dive even further and look at the computer models. And let's start with our futurecast model here. All right, what we're looking at here are wind gusts. The greens that you see across the Bahamas, that's the tropical storm force wind gusts there, okay? Let's watch through time here. And through today, especially late in the day, we start to see more and more organization. So this will probably become a tropical storm. I mean, frankly, I would say 11, if not 5 p.m. I would think, assuming it starts getting its act together. The models are pretty consistent on that. So we'll just say that that's going to be the case. Overnight into tomorrow morning, there's 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. I mean, our futurecast model, which has a pretty good track record, but also seems to always come in hot. Our futurecast model says by 7 a.m. tomorrow, we'll have hurricane force wind gusts. Not us, but the storm itself. It's pretty unorganized right now. I don't know. Futurecast seems to always want to be a little excited, but then again, it has a decent track record. So either way, what? I'm sorry?
I said that dry air. I don't know.
That dry air, I know. That water vapor, it's going to turn it out even earlier, frankly.
I think so. It sounds counterintuitive.
Here, let's bring in meteorologist Cam Tran into the mix. I know you're eating. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
All right, so let's talk about this.
Okay. This sounds kind of counterintuitive and backwards, but people are like, okay, if it becomes a hurricane, is that going to be bigger impacts from us? It actually means no.
Right.
It's going to be less impacts for us.
Right.
Well, why? Because if it's a stronger storm, it's going to curve off to the east, away from the Florida coastline.
Yep.
Not that it's going to, parallel from the coastline.
Right.
Much faster.
Yes.
So that means less wind impact.
Right.
It might even curve away from the Florida coast before it even gets to this offshore. And
that's wild, right? The models have been trending with an earlier and earlier turn.
Yeah.
And if you look, right, like that dry air, that's a significant amount of dry air.
That is a lot of dry air. And tropical systems do not like dry air.
Yeah.
Not only does it weaken it, but if it's more like a shear as well. It starts to eat away at the western periphery, kind of pushing the thunderstorms more towards the eastern half of the peninsula, meaning we won't see as high rain amounts either.
I would suspect at the very least, this is the, if you look at the atmospherics, like down around the Keys and the Straits, that wind shear is playing into the center of circulation, which is disrupting it. So I would imagine that that's a big player for the Hurricane Center in their forecast. I'd be curious at 11 o'clock what they do, right?
That is like what they say with the discussion.
Right.
What they're thinking about that. And also, we can't forget Umberto. If you widen out that water satellite.
Going back. Yep.
So that cluster of storms, look at Umberto. Like you said, it's almost like starting to get that they're within 800 miles of each other.
Yeah.
So already you could get some of that little bit of a Fujiwara interaction.
Yep.
And I'm sure people may have heard that term tossed around. As a meteorologist, I'm actually watching this so closely, not because, it's our jobs, but to see that Fujiwara interaction, to see if it actually happens, because it's so rare.
When was the last time? Now, you've done more research, and I've been working on our new graphics package. So
the last time a full Fujiwara interaction was back in the 1950s, 1955.
Really?
There was one in the early 2020, I believe, or 23, but it wasn't a full interaction. One storm actually kind of weakened and fell apart. So it wasn't like a full-on dance.
Which TD9 could fully weaken and fall apart too. That's another possibility. I wouldn't hate that, honestly.
It's so complex. This is I know we say each system is difficult, but this is even more so because of all the atmospheric players with this one.
Right. Well, and I also wouldn't mind it because you were supposed to be off today. So I'd love for this thing to just check out. Then you can go enjoy your day with your family and not have to worry about it. So, all right, eat your breakfast. Thank you.
Didn't mean to crash your
No.
coffee talk.
I love bringing you in. If you have more, let's do it. But I also want you to have a break, for goodness sake, too.
It's okay.
Because she's doing the 8:25 cut in. So I want to make sure, I want to be respectful. Okay.
Thank you, sweetie.
But Cam's so right? Like this is a very difficult forecast. A day and a half ago, we saw this thing was going right to the Carolinas. And, we've got these corporate conference calls that we have. And one of the things on this corporate conference call that we discuss is each one of our stations that we have 30-ish TV stations across the country. And, it's a valuable tool because the meteorologists at these other stations are discussing their concerns in the Carolinas. We're 1 year removed from Helene. The terrain up there had changed, for goodness sake. So the absolute last thing that they want is any kind of a hurricane or a big rain event, right? So it's really kind of wild to look at, right? Like there's the center of circulation. You can see that squally weather approaching South Florida. Let's take a closer look, right? And from about, say, Port St. Lucie, Fort Pierce, up to the north, there's some heavier stuff into Mico. So let's switch over to our live first warning Doppler radar and just kind of get an idea. And some of that rain starting to approach in on the Grant, Valcaria, Mico area down to about Vero Beach. There's some gusts in there. I'm just looking at some of the Doppler radar. Melbourne's a bit closer. Nothing significant. Our radar not showing anything significant, but there's definitely some wind gusts down there. So, this dry air is over top of us, at least in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. But I'm just curious, what are our dew points reading here? All right, dew points still in the 70s, right? So it's atmospherically dry upstairs. Here at the surface, it's not. So we're still going to be able to get those wraparound gusty downpours, etc. So what I was going to do before we had kind of gotten off on our tangent, which is the best part of Coffee Talk, frankly. Yes, looking at our futurecast model, it's strengthening the storm. It keeps the worst of the weather off the shoreline. So let's just look at Monday. All right, this is Monday, 1 p.m. Some of those greens getting into Brevard. So, of course, that's some tropical storm force wind gusts, not sustained, but gusts, and it'll kind of hang out on our coast. And if you look, it's right at the coast. Inland spots, the light blues, that's gusting to 20-ish or so miles an hour, right? But that's kind of the extent of it there for you. Now, let's switch gears, keeping with our futurecast, but changing over to plotting wind gusts and then showing the clouds and the rainfall. This is our normal model. This is our normal mode of futurecast, but just added in the wind data, okay? So through today, watch how 12:30, 1, 2 o'clock, pockets of heavier rain around with some areas of gusty winds. For example, 3 p.m., 24, 27 from the Villages to Leesburg. Don't focus so much on the location, but just kind of the overall idea of when you get into one of these downpours, could see some gusts. We're not talking hurricane force winds, nothing like that. And remember, too, that Central Florida thunderstorms could put out 50, 60 mile per hour winds any day. So this is not earth shattering, okay? So why are we tracking it? Because when something gets a name or something gets a classification tropically, people get worried, and we want to be here to make sure you know what it is. And with the social media world that it is today, we want to try and be here as a community servant, giving you the real information, sharing the data, and in broadcasts like this, where it's kind of a two-way street, we can chat back and forth together, okay? Yukon says this is a little bit of rain and wind. That's it, right? But we want to be here because rain with a name is still something that concerns people, and we want to make sure to keep you comfortable, okay? So here's through this afternoon. There's 6:30, for example, a nice breeze around, nothing too bad. Notice 10, 11 o'clock tonight may even have another little batch of rain coming on in, and that's the way that it is. It's kind of just squally at times, right? Tomorrow morning when we see it for West 2 News sunrise, 5:30, nice breeze, a few of these passing showers, pockets of heavier rain at times, 10, 15, 20 mile per hour winds. Notice along the shoreline, that's 11, 11:30, 12 o'clock. We're starting to see those gusts picking up a little bit, 20, 25 or so miles an hour, right? Nearly 30 miles an hour at times. That continues through the afternoon. Look at those radar returns off the shore, the worst of the weather. 35 or so at the peak gust. I saw 36 in Titusville. That's 11:30 tomorrow. Then on Tuesday morning, 6 a.m., it's going to be breezy. Frankly, I think it's going to be really nice. I mean, when we're not getting a little squall moving through, Cam, what do you think? I mean, look at that breeze, 20, 25 mile per hour breeze.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not raining, I think it's going to feel really good out. It'll be humid, right?
We'll still, but the dryer starts to work its way in by Tuesday night and Tuesday afternoon. So yeah, it'll be a little bit breezy, but overall, not a bad day. And then Wednesday's looking great, actually. I only have a 30 to 40% chance of raining on Wednesday.
I love that. Look at that. Tuesday afternoon, the clouds will even be clear. Oh, man, that's going to be nice. With the breeze, that northerly wind, that dries us out and makes it look just fantastic. That's Tuesday night as the storm system pulls away. We'll still have some lingering showers around shore, but
dew points drop into the 60s midweek.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Oh, come on.
68, the dew point for Wednesday.
Oh, man, I love it. All right, so here's the 7-day forecast, just so that we're on the same page. We're calling it impact weather today, tomorrow, and Tuesday, just as the wave action starts to pick up, just as the breeze starts to pick up. We're not talking about a tornado threat. We're not talking about a hurricane or anything like that. But we're just looking at some pockets of gustier winds, and the impact weather is more for the building wave action, that sort of thing, okay? And then, look at how, you're right, Cam, that rain chance goes down Wednesday. It's beautiful. Highs in the mid-80s, morning lows in the lower 70s. This is Central Florida fall. We get a tropical-ish system nearby. We have to talk about it. We have to track it, but that's kind of what we do. Matt says we need Cam every day to announce the dew point like that.
68 Wednesday.
I love it. I love it. Oh, man. All right. So that's kind of where we're at, my friends. Questions, comments, concerns on the tropics or on our local forecast. I want to make sure that we're good. Love windy days. Bring on those low temps. Disney Therapy on YouTube says, yeah. Also Disney Therapy. Love that. All right. Other questions. Can you do a 48-hour loop on the water vapor? In the past?
Yeah.
I don't know that I even have data buffered to 48 hours. This is 12 hours. I don't know that I've got 48-hour loop. I could try last 48 as it's going to go and try and get the data. I can't promise that it'll buffer back that far. Yeah, it's trying to get the data. It's building. Okay, past 48. It's building the loop. Rebecca's asking, do you think Florida will be spared this year? I'm not going to say anything other than I'm hoping Florida's just spared. I'm not going to say I think anything. That's all. Awesome. Might actually get some riding in on my mountain vacation. There you go. So you can see that dry air pocket moving our direction. I love the first warning weather team. Sad to see Kellyanne left. She did such a good job. We were texting this morning. I asked how she was doing, Cam. You know what she said? She was like, well, I'm still sad. I was able to stay up late to watch Penn State lose last night.
She wouldn't have been able to do that.
She would have been able to, well, because she probably would have been in this morning. You'd have probably been in with Tony later.
Yep.
So, yeah. Oh, man. But yeah, so there you go. There's the last 48 hours. Apparently, I do have that data in there. Still trying to build the loop. But you can see that dry air pushing in. Yeah. Do not jinx anything, Jeannie Rowan says. I know it. Let's see here. Flying to Daytona Beach Tuesday at 6. Is our landing going to be rough? There's going to be a little crosswind component to the landing. That'll be okay. A lot of people are asking about airports and things like that. I need to do an airport delays graphic. I haven't done it in the new look yet.
Oh, yeah. Side note.
I'll do that next. But yeah, remember, airplanes can operate in winds. We're not talking about a hit of any way, shape, or form here, okay? So we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay, guys. We're going to be okay. This is not a big, bad hurricane. This is some sloppy low pressure. I would fly VFR today in my airplane. All right? That's, you know what I mean? It's 360 at 3 knots. That I can handle a 3-knot crosswind. Matt says, good time to learn how to crab your landing. You're right about that. Yeah, I mean, look, would I do it in a 25-knot crosswind? No, probably not. Even though the Mooney has pretty good rudder control, but I digress. David's asking, is the dry air at all levels of the relevant atmosphere? I'm rocking 61-degree dew points in Hammond, Louisiana with ambience 5 above the ground. Yeah, well, listen, we were just checking, and even though you see that dry air really, see, I'm going to break this 48-hour loop just for a second. You see that dry air really diving in atmospherically, but look at the dew point temperatures here in our area, still in the 70s. Even though Cammie said they're dropping what now? What are we doing? They're dropping to the what, Cam?
Upper 60s, so 68 on Wednesday.
Oh man, could we get to the first 60 temps in Central Philly?
What'd you say?
She's doing TV. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Looks like nice weather. Watching that water vapor, don't think it will be a hurricane. Yeah, I mean, Yukon, there's a good element of shear there. Definitely a good element of shear there.
Shear is our friend.
Shear is our friend. None of us want this. Great Netflix show. What is it? Nobody asked for this. Nobody wants this. Something like that. Nobody wants tropical trouble. So we'll take it. The Biltmore, where Sloppy Joe's is, just reopened the rest of the hotels since Halloween. Wow, isn't that wild? Yeah. Actually, Daytona landing may not be bad on Tuesday, Brian says. If they're running the east-west, it'll be a crosswind. It'll be fine. Yeah, Galen, I remember that, buddy. Absolutely. Tanya says, bring on the cooler weather. I would love it. Trish says, I work in Cape Canaveral, nothing to get excited about. I don't want us to have anything to get excited about. The reason that we're here, just so everybody knows, the reason that we are here is to make, first off, I'm here every day at 8:00. The weather could be pitch quiet. We're still here. But we're also doing team weather coverage just to make sure to cover this as best as we possibly can. And also, and perhaps more importantly, make sure this is nothing to be scared about, okay? Didn't look at Umberto. Is it still 160? No, Umberto is not at 160 mile per hour winds anymore. It's still a beast of a hurricane. Umberto's winds are at 155 miles an hour. Look at that beast of a storm. Holy cannoli. Isn't that something? That eye is wild. I'm supposed to be driving to Savannah on the 10th if something has to come through Florida. Well, I don't have control over that sort of thing, but I digress. Paul says just a normal day in Florida. Yeah, that's fine. Terry's asking if there's anything else to watch. So let's just look and see. I'd like to be excited about something, just not disruptive weather. Yeah, I can agree with that. All right, so here's a look at the raw GFS model data. Okay, and there we go. We've got Umberto on the right, and we've got Imelda on the left, or what will be Imelda, right? Racking up ace points. That's it. There's the kind of ballet of them together, getting on out of here. GFS trying to develop maybe something a little weak, something along the northern Gulf Coast around the 5th. And then beyond that, we're looking pretty good. Maybe a little something around Cuba, South Florida, right in here. That's October 9th, 10th. But nothing significant. And then maybe at the very, very end, something into the Gulf. But that's ways away out there. And then bottom right corner as well. So, yeah, I mean, we're seeing some things on the American GFS. Let's switch over. Let's look at the European. Doing its thing. Little, perhaps Fujiwara type, pulling it out. Bye, Felicia. A little something around South Florida. Euro trying to develop something in the northern Gulf, perhaps around the 5th. And then looking beyond, Euro not really doing much. Okay. All right, that's fine. Ensembles. Let's check the ensembles. With storms like this, it's always best to just eyeball the ensembles, right? So let's track. There we go. All right. So, some of the ensemble members are bringing it further to the west. There's a lot of dry air there, folks. I'm not expecting this to be that far west. So no, I don't think that that's going to be the case. Then it gets pulled away. Not a problem. All right. So there's that. Let's look at Euro. What I think is happening here is maybe the models are just not reading that dry. That dry air is going to make it awful difficult for these ensembles to be that far to the west, if I'm honest. And we see that just in looking at the model trends, right? Right? Like these consensus models really showing that with an earlier and an earlier and an earlier turn. Now, do we have the 12Z? Let's see if the 12Z is in. Here's 12Z. I don't know that it's in yet, but we can check. Not in yet. Okay. Yep. So that's fine. That's fine. The 6Z we have in. And again, it's turning it early. You see that earlier, further south turn. So that's kind of what we're thinking. But why wouldn't weak go more west? Melissa's asking. Yeah, so we've got dry air in place. So that's the problem. It's already starting to lift to the north. Weaker goes west when talking about trade winds, but this is already getting picked up and influenced. So this is a little different. It's maybe I should always just say like weaker goes west asterisk or something like that, right? Umberto is a good case for when the MJO is in phase, is really in phase. Right. Well, and when something tries to develop, it really has the chance to develop. Right. All right. Let's see here. Why are they talking so much in the background? They're doing TV. I'm in a TV studio. Why are they talking so much? Cam was on TV.
I just did a cut it.
She did a cut it. Can you tell them to be quiet, please? Oh, man. Nikki's safe to say no school closures for Florida East Coast. I would not suspect that this is a case of closing schools. Again, we close schools because of opening up shelters or when sustained winds are at 35 or greater. And we're not looking at that right now. We've not heard of anything. Jana says, cruising to Bahamas today. Thoughts on conditions, wave heights. Yeah, so the waves are going to be bigger. But remember, first off, the cruise lines have staff, so they're going to keep you safe. Here's a look at those wave heights right now, okay? The waves are going to really start to pick up late tonight, and at that point, you can probably be inside of the Bahamas, right? But the Bahamas are going to really protect things. I mean, it peaks out 4 to 8 feet. I've been on a cruise ship with waves higher than 8 feet, and it's going to be, it's going to be fine. With these new cruise ships, you'll hardly feel it. So I think you're going to be just fine. I genuinely think you're going to be just fine. Okay. So that's kind of our thoughts as kind of where we're at. Now, we are, just a reminder though, for full disclosure, we are under tropical storm watches for Central Florida. And a tropical storm watch essentially means that we need to be starting to think about those action plans. Conditions are possible. And for us, I think that that's where it would end. In other words, for our East Coast communities, tropical storm conditions are possible, okay? Not expected, but possible, all right? Galen's asking, are you guys going to get a new meteorologist? Just curious. Are you going to get a new meteorologist from South Florida? I don't know where they're going to hire the person. Yes, we are in a national search for a new meteorologist. We've brought a few people in to interview. But yes, I'm not going to get into the inside baseball of it. But yes, they're looking for the right person for the right job. They're going to, listen. Wesh management does what they have to do to bring in the best people that they can. So just know that they will be doing that. Okay. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, my friends. How are we? Questions about this tropical thing? Questions about our weekend forecast? What do you have? Lisa, what about Daytona? What about Daytona? What about it? What you got? Jackie. I have not heard that name. Wasn't she in LA for a while? I haven't heard of her. I haven't thought of her in a while. We went to school together. Brian, Eric, I will be in Punta Cana from October 3rd through the 11th. Will there be any storms there then? Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Does WSI still load graphics? Who designed the new weather icons? So with Inside Baseball, I built the new look for Hearst. We have a small team of meteorologists, and so we built internally the look. We built the icons. We built the backgrounds. So yeah, there's your Inside Baseball. Tad is asking, where was Action 4 News on Cam's jacket? Oh, they saw your jacket.
Oh,
Cammy?
I used to work in Pittsburgh. So our sister station in Pittsburgh, and they're called Pittsburgh's Action 4 News. So
WTAE.
Pittsburgh, Steel City.
Who's getting the new graphics package in the next month?
Wow, they're behind us.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'll let them know to give them a heads up.
Yeah, give your friends a heads up.
So yeah, our sister station. That's where I came from.
I think I'll be on a call with them Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
That's when we do their call.
Mark Harvey.
Oh, you know. Yeah. So we're rolling it out. But yeah, so Inside Baseball, we designed the icons. We designed everything. We have a wonderful group of folks. How far off the coast will it be when it passes by Brevard County? So, okay, let me pull up the graphics. So let's do the official forecast. Okay, based on the official forecast, and understand that things can change, but using kind of just the old ruler here, 150 miles, 160 miles is the center. Could be as close as about 100, could be as far as about 240 miles. So there you go. That's the idea as it stands right now. When is WBAL getting Diagrid 25? All these questions.
Wow, these are some personal questions.
Jeez. I'm working with WBAL as we speak. They'll be, I think, in the next wave. How do you know it's called Diagrid 25?
Because you talk about it.
I don't think I've ever called it D25 on here until now. That's what we call it, though. But who is your sister station in Boston or Providence? So we don't have one in Providence, but Boston is WCVB News Center 5, which, by the way, their morning show is called The Eye Opener.
Yes, it is.
I love that.
I like that. I like Sunrise too.
Sunrise. I grew up with Wesh 2 News Sunrise. I also grew up with a morning show here called Daybreak, which I loved.
I like Daybreak too.
They don't call it that anymore, so I can reference it because it's a competition, but I digress. Jan says crazy cone week. Doesn't look like a bad cone to me. This is a really good cone. It's the kind of cone that keeps it away from us. So that's a fine cone. Alexander's asking about any school cancellations. We have not gotten word of that. The cone is off the shoreline. We'll get some gusts, but yeah, not expecting it to be. Maria, I was there when it was. Me too. We never worked together though, Maria. Did we? I don't think we did. I know we've talked about it, but yeah, I loved the name Daybreak. I love the eye opener. The eye opener. I would never change Wesh 2 News Sunrise, but like the eye opener is a cool morning show. Let's see here. Kyle's asking, do you think that there will be any flight delays or cancellations for Monday night for MCO? Listen, flight delays are kind of such a localized thing. It's once you start this struggle in the overall air traffic control system, it backs up. I'm not expecting delays. This should stay off the shoreline. This shouldn't be a direct issue. But could there be other issues? Sure. You get one storm over the wrong hub and there it goes. So I'm not expecting big delays. Ryan, D25 is a nice flat evolution of Diagrid, of the original Diagrid. The bug's identical, almost identical, different colors, but yeah. Let's see. Dave Marsh was the best meteorologist ever at Channel 2. Cam, you hear that? Somebody's trash talking you and I.
I don't consider it trash talk.
It's not. I'm just teasing.
Yeah.
I'm teasing. Totally teasing. I grew up watching Dave. I'm just teasing. It's wild. We had him on Coffee Talk a while back. It was great catching up with him. Yeah, tardy to the party. Can we start over? No, we're not doing that. All right. Any other questions, friends? All right, listen. So here's where we're at right now. Tropical Depression 9 should become Imelda. Should lift north today. Should stay well off of our coastline. Will give us some gusty downpours, and that's going to be it, okay? All right, listen. That's all. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. We'll be posting updates throughout the day. Cammie and I are here all day long, and then Tony and Marquise will take over later on, okay? Stay tuned to the tropics. Just make sure we're good. But listen, no hype. This is going to be some gusty rains. We can handle that. And Matt's asking, can we buy a cold front? I think Mother Nature throwing it to us for free.
I know. We don't need to buy it. It's coming.
It's coming, baby. All right. Be good, y'all. Have a great, great Sunday, whatever you're going to do. Go out and enjoy. Pussycat said that we're number 2 favorite meteorologist behind Dave Marsh.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Way to dig yourself out of that one. All right.